As I record this video, we are about a week past the victory of President Trump winning the presidential race. And my intention was actually to record this before the election, but I think it really doesn't matter the timing of this. It doesn't matter whether it was before or after. It's still, I think this is relevant. I observed something probably 2 months ago, maybe back in September, as we were approaching the election. I noticed kind of a recurring theme or a recurring event happening. I've seen this a number of times through over the past few election cycles. As time draws nearer, as we get closer to an election, Americans are getting ready to get out to the polls, vote for their candidate of choice for president in this case, and as well as others down the ballot. And like clockwork, it seems that, and without fail, that there's certain Christians will begin these efforts to turn Christians away from voting at all. Fortunately, this time, the election of Donald Trump has, in fact, saved them from their own misguided suggestions or advice to us. I don't recall when I first noticed this, but I was reminded of this strange phenomenon again as about a month before, maybe a month or two before this election. I began to receive emails or see articles in prominent Christian publications, or see videos posted and published by Christians from various denominations, suddenly writing about the lack of moral perfection in both candidates in this case. This time around, it was the same theme. Both candidates are seriously flawed. Neither deserve our vote. We cannot in good conscience, therefore, vote for either one. Some of these Christians that I've followed for some time will mention, I've noticed, almost with pride, that they do not own a television or they don't own a radio. They stay away from the social media. Yet some of them do have smartphones and other modern devices, so that the consistency there is kind of questionable. But despite them priding themselves on being off the grid, so to speak, or avoiding the taint of the video screen, they seem to still be able to be receiving information from somewhere, because they are at least knowledgeable about who is running for office. They appear to be at least informed about who's running, and more than that, they seem to be quite clear about their character. And so they're getting their information from somewhere. Which then leads us to ask, what is their source of information? And again, in the case of this year's election, they were advising Christians to stay home and not vote for either candidate. And to me, this seems not only strange, but very uninformed and even counterproductive to Christianity, to Christians, and to the Christian faith. The fact is, we have two very different candidates. Both have been in office before, one currently. So both have a record that we can look at to make an informed decision on how they govern. One candidate was very clear that she was very upset that Roe v. Wade, for example, had been moved from a federal level down to the states. It's become kind of a states' rights issue, as they say. The other candidate was very clear about that abortion should be a state-by-state issue, which is actually the way that the country is constitutionally designed. Neither of these decisions or positions is optimal for the Christian, to be clear. We are anti-abortion as Christians, and we would like to see less and less of it happen as time goes by. And we can go down the line with other policies as well. Both candidates were clear about their position on the nation's borders, which also speaks to national security, drugs flowing into the country, human trafficking occurring. and how urgent and serious they were both about these issues. Both candidates were clear on tax policy and sexual issues. In each case, the candidates were almost polar opposites from one another on these issues. So here are the things that a thinking Christian should weigh when election time comes around. First, we have to be clear that in our current day elections and the way our country is set up, we have basically, at least at the moment, a two-party system. We've seen this for a long time. It seems it's not going to be going away anytime in the foreseeable future. And since we are a two-party system, it means that even if a third party were to form or a third person would enter the race, only one of the two major ones is going to win. Second, since only one of the two will win, the Christian, it would seem, should vote for the better of the two, since someone is going to win and someone is going to lead. Not the perfect person, but the better of the two. In this race, we had in almost every issue, two candidates with completely different positions on the aforementioned issues. In this race, one wanted to see less abortion occur, one wanted to see more occur. In this race, one candidate wanted to see taxes cut and relief given to people, and one wanted to see taxes raised on us once again. In this race, one wanted to see the border, the open borders, or at least the poorly secured borders that we have, reined in, and in turn see less drugs, less human trafficking, and all these things happening. One candidate seemed to have really no real grasp of the seriousness of the border crisis. What these Christians that urge us not to vote miss is that there never is going to be the morally perfect candidate. And is morality going to be the sole criteria for electing someone? Surely, we want our leaders to be moral people. But are their personal sins necessarily going to affect the way they govern? Are we rewarding them with our vote for being morally superior to the other candidate? Or should we be rather taking advantage of a great opportunity that God has given to us in this country, to live in this country, that many other nations do not give to their citizens, the ability to choose a leader? So to squander that opportunity with this kind of advice is a big mistake. Third, would it not be better, since, again, only one of the two candidates is going to win, and one candidate, though imperfect, at least has a track record of leading in such a way, so as to pave the way for the Christian church to flourish? And the other candidate would certainly make it much harder for the church to exist and flourish. So of the two candidates, Donald Trump's positions on the issues his position on the issues is much closer to the Christian's position. He will not solve all of the problems that we have. On the other hand, if Harris were to have won, the problems that we as Christians are concerned with would only have been exacerbated. Wouldn't we as Christians want to live in a place where we are given the opportunity to elect a person who is going to give us more latitude to spread the gospel? To demand perfection or 100% Christian values platforms is just simply not going to be a choice that we're going to have anytime soon. We can vote for one candidate and get some of what we want, or vote for the other candidate and get very little, if anything, of what we want. Wouldn't it be easier or more beneficial to the church to live and to worship and to work under a leader who would not stifle our mission than under one who would make it much harder? Would it be easier to work toward even less abortions under Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? One has so ordered things, one candidate has so ordered things that has caused abortion a major setback. And one vowed, the other has vowed on the campaign trail to bring Roe v. Wade back. And it seems to me the decision's simple even at that point, with just that topic alone. Fortunately, those Christians who recommended that we not vote stayed home. Fortunately, they've lost this time in the arena of ideas, we could say. Fortunately, most did not stay home as well. Or we could say that they won the election, but they just don't know it. The better candidate did indeed win, and did so handily and on many of the issues that these very Christians who advise us to not vote support. And it seems that is because the vast majority of the country desired to see these things go in this direction, in a favorable direction to us, which is a good thing to see. Our Christian rights and our Christian freedoms have been secured now for at least 2, if not 4 more years. The church now should take advantage of this great opportunity and not waste it, not waste time, and not waste it searching for the perfect candidate for next time. Rather, we need to get out. We need to get out and spread the gospel, to work toward a more civil and safe society for everyone, showing the love of Christ to others, of seeing to it that even future elections are secure, and that in this environment, though imperfect and led by imperfect people, ourselves included, we have been blessed by God with certain freedoms and responsibilities, again, that many others do not enjoy. And to see that God has given us here a less than perfect union, but one that is in intent and in design, allowing the flourishing of the Christian church, the Christian faith, more than anywhere else.